Republicans need to give alternatives and not just be negative. But let me turn this Vance question around, because I was thinking about this, and I remember back during the campaign when Mitt Romney went into West Philadelphia, and Mayor Michael Nutter protested his visit and said, "Why is this guy here?" Mitt Romney was booed by the NAACP. I'm wondering, is there an interest and a willingness among black Democrats to have a dialogue with white Republicans on any issue?
Oh, sure, sure. I mean, my God, we black folk, we have been some of the most open-minded, forgiving, and embracing people in the nation. In fact, we've got Clarence Thomases within our own community, so it's not like we got to go somewhere else to have conservatives. But the issue is this. Look at the Republicans cutting food stamps. That's morally obscene and spiritually profane. Poor people, 4 million poor people maybe being pushed into poverty.
How much did food stamps go up in the last 4 years?
They've gone up, you know why?
Doubled.
And how much poverty increased?
Because this crisis of capitalism is such that wages have been stagnating.
Wait, who's been president in the last 4 years? I thought the economy was roaring back under President Obama.
Brother Bill,
Republicans try to trim an overgrown entitlement program, and that's morally obscene?
No, but when you've got neoliberal policies, and this is what neoliberalism goes hand in hand with your neoconservatism. Privatize, militarize, support big banks and big corporations. The result is what? Working class devastated, middle class downward mobility, escalation of poverty. So yes, you're right. We got a lot of food stamps increasing because of what? People are suffering. But then you're going to cut the food stamps.
But Dr. West,
you're so harsh on the president. I feel like
it's not the president. It's the neoliberal politics of the whole Democratic Party.
But Professor West, median household income has dropped by more than $4,000 adjusted for inflation since 2000. Poverty rate is up.
The top 1%, 95% of all income growth.
President Obama admitted that the folks in the middle and at the bottom haven't seen wage or income growth that the folks at the top have.
Obama. Oh, no, absolutely. Absolutely, the largest tendency.
So, but here's something I think we could agree on, probably, that actually I do think, honestly, the political party that in 2016 addresses these problems, which I agree with you, the Republicans haven't done as much as they should have on, and I don't think, honestly, the Obama administration has done much on. That, I think, political party, political candidate could win in 2016.
And well, let me talk to you about that, because, you know, people are beating up on President Obama, but when I look at the last ticket, do you agree with people like Mitt Romney, who says that 47% of Americans are takers? And worse, you have a Paul Ryan, who says as many as 60% of Americans are takers, not makers. To get to that number, you have to include every single person who's at Social Security, every veteran, every disabled person. Do you believe, like apparently Paul Ryan, that 60% of Americans are takers, and that being on Social Security makes you a taker, not a maker? Do you agree with that?
No. Well, I mean, I don't think that's quite fair to Paul Ryan, but because I think he was trying to explain something more analytically. But no, I rejected when Mitt Romney said the 47% thing. I said he's probably lost the presidency, and it's wrong. It's just analytically wrong. It's foolish, and it's a mistake.
Yeah, it was a mistake. We will probably pay for it.
And analytically, it's where Republicans have gone a little off the rails. Yeah,
but that's part of the cold-hearted, mean-spiritedness that I'm talking about. You agree that statement is cold-hearted, mean-spirited?
But it's a message.
I'm cold-hearted. You agree? I'm cold-hearted and mean-spirited in a more enlightened way. No, that's not cold. It's just foolish. It's just silly.
It's bad message.
But you can be tough-minded about reforming programs and improving them and targeting them and not having food stamps double over 4 years without being cold-hearted and mean-spirited.
But Brother Bill, though, I mean, your Judaism, which is one of the great moral breakthroughs in the human race in terms of weakness, vulnerability of persons, acts in it. Kindness to the stranger, the hesed, the loving kindness to the oppressed. How do you reconcile that with your ties to big business, big corporations, these cold-hearted, mean-spirited formulations when it comes to poor and working people?
I think the Republican Party should have fewer ties with big business and big corporations. I think the Obama administration is the one who's been in bed with that.
But Mitt Romney? I mean, you supported Sarah Palin.
Well, she's not a big business, big corporation type. She's a working person.
Like Sarah in terms of her status, but in terms of her policies. My God.
Well, you're just going to say,
trashing Obamacare every day.
How can you not admire a woman like Sarah Palin, who picked herself up by her bootstraps? 5 kids, 1 fighting overseas, 1 born disabled. She made her way up from nothing through the good old boy network to become a mayor, city council. councilwoman, the first woman governor of Alaska, and vice presidential candidate. How is she not the example of the kind of life you would want for most Americans?
Because even given her upward social mobility, her sentiments and temperament side with the well-to-do. No, side with Democrats, side with the well-to-do, too. I think both parties need to be radical.